Hi everyone, Elle Hackney, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I love interviewing everyone to do with the book world, authors, illustrators, podcasts, industry professionals. And today I'm very excited to speak to an author because recently I interviewed her illustrator, Kristen Willis from Tondo Creative. So may I please welcome Laura Holloway.
Hello.
Laura, thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to hear all about your journey because you've got a contract with FiveMile with a book that's coming out very shortly. So why don't you tell us about yourself and the process, how you got to this place?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. This is actually my first interview as an author, so it's very exciting. With my writing journey, I feel like it's such a cliche. It's the same story you hear over and over. I had always wanted to write. I'd always loved books. I'd been such a bookworm growing up. Got a full-time job teaching, never sort of was able to follow that passion, had a baby, and whilst on maternity leave, just found myself with all this free mental space that I hadn't had for, 10 or so years that I'd been working full-time. And obviously having a baby is no walk in the park. There's some really difficult parts of that, but mentally I found I just had this space for creativity, for ideas, and just I found it a real time for reflection. What did I want from my life? What did I want? How did I want my daughter to see me as she grew up? And I now have two daughters. I just found it a really creative phase. So that's when I started trying to write, and I did the old, feeding in the middle of the night and having ideas and typing them into my phone, and she really loved being in the pram, so I would walk her a lot in the pram, and just the whole time was thinking, cat, mat, sat, and rhyming and stuff like that, and just thinking up ideas, putting notes in my phone. And she's now 7, so it's not been a quick process, but it started very small, very even, I felt nervous even to say to myself, I want this, and then it took a bit longer to sort of say first to my husband, oh, I think I'm going to try this, and even then I didn't tell many friends or family, and slowly but surely I built up a little bit more confidence to think, I really do want this, and there's certain skills I need to work on to be able to achieve this goal. So like I said, I wouldn't say 7 years full on, but probably about 4 years of full on, been doing courses, in author groups, having joined Squibbie and ASA and things like that, and really putting a lot of effort into this. But obviously still balancing that with the kids and with working part-time and all of that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's such a juggle. But
Yeah.
I am actually really curious because there's lots of authors out there that would love to be in your shoes to have a book coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And you're mentioning that you did courses and you're part of all these groups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing because you've got your contract, you're there, but how beneficial do you feel it was? Because there are some authors out there who I guess they're really finding which one's more important. Is it the courses? Is it the manuscript assessments? Is it the CYA appearances? Is it all these things? What did you feel was more beneficial for you?
For me, I think the number one thing has been finding a community. And I'm in a couple of writing communities. And in particular, I've got a critique group here in Perth. There's 4 of us, and we meet monthly to discuss manuscripts. And on top of that, we're almost daily on the group chat, did you see this person got a contract? Did you see this person's opening for submissions? And I 100% can say I would not have gotten this contract without that group, because they've pushed me when I felt like, it's been rejected. Not just that story, but a lot of manuscripts of mine have been rejected before this one was accepted. And I think without them, I definitely would have given up, and just thought, it's just not for me, because it is, it seems like it's going to be such a nice industry of, picture books and kid lit, but actually it can be really brutal. So the people in it are really what made me stick around and what gave me Obviously more skills as well, because every time I chat to them, I'm honing my skills, but also just that encouragement, that and I don't know, just that feeling like you're a part of something, and it's not just you know, writing things that are never going to get seen and never going to get out in the world. And also for, I think, my confidence of having an author Instagram and now an author website. And, you know, I still feel a little bit uncomfortable calling myself an author, but that has really helped with that sort of thing, being in those groups. And I mean, I'm lucky I have that in-person group, but I'm also in some online groups, which have been really great. And yeah, that for me has been the number one thing. The courses, the conferences, all of that is great too, but that all costs money, you know, whereas the connection, the catching up with people, you can do all that for free. And I think that helps just as much, if not more.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful news to hear, because I do hear of so many authors out there who they just want it so bad, that their heart's in the right place, but they're forking out for all sorts of things. And it's nice to know, well, what's just on you, just for you, what you've done and what your experience is. And this is exactly why I started this channel, because really how you can fall into getting a contract, I've learned, is networking, manuscript assessments, the slush pile, agents. Like, oh my word, there's no black and white. It's such a great area. So thank you so much for that feedback.
Yeah. And I mean, all those things are great. And you know, I've had opportunities come from attending conferences, and I've done courses which have definitely helped my writing. But I personally have to be very picky with what I can and can't do, because it all costs money and time. And realistically, if you're looking at writing picture books, you're not going to make much money from that. So to be spending, you know, hundreds of dollars all the time for 15-minute assessments is just not something I can do that often. I've done a couple and they've been great, but yeah, you have to choose, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now tell me your experience with FiveMile, because I interviewed Mary Anastasio a little while back on my channel, and
great,
she's FiveMile. So tell me all about it.
I've been working with Mary on this. I initially submitted the story through the slush pile. So I had, though, won the CYA competition in my category, the pre-primary aspiring. So I'm not sure if that helped. It wasn't directly through that that I got a chance to go with FiveMile, but I'm sure I certainly put it as the first thing on my cover letter. I'm sure it helped. So I submitted through the slush pile, and it was not even 2 weeks later, I think, that I got an email back saying, you know, we're interested. And of course I was like reading it for the, you know, I've read many of these letters where it's, oh, we really enjoyed your story, unfortunately. And you're like, you get to the unfortunately, and you're like, oh, I kept reading it thinking, where's the unfortunately? And it wasn't there. So I was really excited. And it all happened very quickly with them, actually. Of course, there was a little bit of to and fro with, you know, it wasn't like that first initial email had a contract attached to it. There was a little bit of discussion back and forth, but it was all sort of organised very quickly. And the themes of my book work quite well with Harmony Week. So they wanted to get it done quite quickly to try and have it out for Harmony Week, which is next month. So for such a slow industry and years of waiting, once I got that contract, it was like, go, go, go. And then they obviously so someone else was contacting me, and then they passed me over to Mary, who does a lot more of that one-on-one sort of stuff and the marketing and working with the illustrator and that. So they organised the illustrator, which, like you said, is Kristen. And oh my goodness, I could not be happier with as soon as I saw her art, I was thrilled. And then once we started talking, she's amazing. She's so great. And they sent me a link and said, you know, this is who we're thinking. What do you think? And I was really quite nervous about, you know, handing it over and what they were going to do with it. And especially because I knew there was quite a tight time frame. You know, I thought, oh, I hope they're not going to sort of rush it and the illustrations won't be that good. And then as soon as I clicked the link to her portfolio, I was like, blown away. And I felt no nervousness after that, because seeing all her different artwork, and she has a couple of different styles, but I loved all of them, and I just immediately thought, that's it, that's perfect. And and she's so nice, and she's been really helpful with the marketing kind of thing. She's very confident and very I think online savvy, so she's really helped with a couple of ideas, and also maybe a little push for me sometimes to get myself out there. And it's been great. It's been fantastic. It's nice. I consider her a friend now, so that's good. Although obviously she's over in Brisbane and I'm here in Perth, so we haven't actually met. But yeah.
No, that sounds like a wonderful first traditional contract experience.
Yeah,
so can I just backtrack a wee bit? Did you say that it was like last year you got the contract?
Yes.
And your book is coming out in March 2024?
Yes.
So that's, for me, that's less than 12 months.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
wow. I've never heard of that. Everyone I have interviewed has said, oh, it's 18 months in the process.
Yeah.
Oh, my print run is 2025.
Yeah.
No wonder you were nervous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on the one hand, FiveMile's a great publisher, so I had faith in them that they weren't, they weren't going to do too bad a job. But I just thought, oh, it's such a tight time. To be honest, when I first saw the time frame that suggested, I was like, that's impossible. That can't happen. And then Kristen is amazing, and she just, I think she basically stopped all her other stuff to just get this done, and did such a fantastic job. Yeah. And I mean, luckily she kind of, there wasn't a lot of back and forth with, the illustrations and stuff. I personally had really no notes. Initially she sent a couple of character designs, and she had 3 characters to choose from. I mean, they're all quite similar because the story, she had to fit in with the story, but she sent 3 designs, and I mean, they were all cute, but there was one that I liked in particular, which is the one that was chosen, and I got the impression she liked it the best as well, because she'd sort of featured it a bit more, and so that was easy. Everyone seemed to like that one best, with the little piggy buns. I don't know if you've seen the cover, but then she sent through some roughs, and I mean, I thought it was great. I don't know if FiveMile were giving her some feedback that I wasn't privy to, but certainly what they sent me, they asked what I thought, if I had any feedback, and I don't know how much say I would have had I not liked it. And you know what I mean? I think I was happy with it, so it was really easy.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. So with this experience with Kristen being your illustrator, you just 100% let her have control? You didn't sort of say, this is my vision as well, or you just let her have at it?
No, look, I'm not a hugely visual person, which is strange to get into picture books, but I didn't have a picture in my head of what Lottie would look like and what it would all look like. So when I saw her illustrations, that was fantastic for me. They did ask me a couple of things, mainly because the timeline was so tight. They did ask me to put in a couple of illustration notes just as ideas, but I was sort of very clear that, look, they've asked me to give some ideas, so I'm giving them, but if you've got a better idea, I'm really not an artist. I'm not good at that sort of thing. So I didn't want to be saying things that she felt like she had to incorporate. That was then going to compromise her vision, by trying to put my stuff in. So a couple of those things made it in, a couple of those things didn't. It was mainly because there's sort of a multicultural element to it. So they had asked for some ideas of how to show that multicultural element, in the illustrations. So
yeah, no, that sounds like a great response for your manuscript. That the publisher picked well, and you guys got it out on time. How many different edits did you have to do for your manuscript?
With FiveMile? Not many. There was, I'd done a billion edits before that, with my critique group and with my prize from the CYA had been to have a conversation with the publisher about it. So there had been many edits leading up to that, but FiveMile didn't want much change. There was, like I said, there's a multicultural element to the story, and the character meets people from different cultures, and they did ask for a couple of those to be changed because I assume to represent cultures that are more common in Australia. So like they asked for a couple of the languages to be switched, but that was easy to do because that part wasn't the rhyming part. So that was easy. I was happy to switch those if that's what they wanted. And then I think there was one or two lines, you know, Mary's quite a rhyming expert. So there was one or two lines where she said, oh, I think this could be changed or this could be changed. But I think that was only maybe two lines or something where she suggested changing a word or two, but they were very much like, this is our suggestion, what do you think? And I think had I not been happy with that, I could have said, actually, no. So yeah, so it was very collaborative.
Oh, wonderful. So your experience with FiveMile all round seems very positive. So authors out there, when you are submitting, keep this in mind, that you know, the positive interactions authors have had with FiveMile and their crew. And so your kids now must be so super proud of you.
Yeah.
Yep. So have they read this, or are they waiting? Like, have you waited until the book comes out for them to read it?
Look, initially I would read them some of my stories, but without the pictures, they're not that interested, you know. So they would kind of say, oh yeah, that's nice, but they weren't that into it. So then it's really nice now that this one has illustrations and it has a character, and they're so much more excited about it than they ever were when I was, you know, just reading off a Word document. So they haven't actually seen the whole book. I didn't show them the whole book, but they've seen the cover, so they know the character of Lottie, and yeah, they're very excited. They keep saying, oh, you know, we're gonna show everyone, and it's gonna be famous. And my daughter said she'll dress up as Lottie for book week already. So,
it sounds
might have worn off by book week, but yeah.
No, it sounds like your children also could get involved with your book launches. It sounds like they would be the perfect cheerleaders to bring along.
Yeah, they're very enthusiastic. Yeah, and they're real bookworms as well, so it really suits them. And they enjoy it. We go to some book launches here for local authors and that, and they always enjoy them. So they're really excited for the book launch.
I think reading is so important, and I do see picture books as the beginning of reading adventures, because really books can take you anywhere, right? Like you read a book and they can take you anywhere. What was your first picture book memory?
Oh, you mean as a child?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in the 80s, as I'm sure you can guess. Yeah. So all those, you know, classic sort of stories, the Magic Faraway Tree, which I'm actually now reading with my kids.
Me too.
Yeah, which is, you know, it's great that they're loving it. And you know, it's obviously a very different style to what we're used to now with the 500-word maximum and that sort of thing, whereas they're sort of very long and they'll go off on a tangent and that. But I really love that, and that's what I grew up with, and the kids are enjoying it. So yeah, definitely that one. I used to have one that I think was my favourite. I'm trying to think what it's called now. It's about a wombat house, but it's boy, I really should have prepared for that.
Oh, no,
it's
not
about
at all.
someone who builds, the girl builds a cubby house for her pet wombat, and it's, you know, it's looking amazing. And then you turn to the last page and you get that reveal that actually it's kind of shonky, you know, but in her imagination, it's been this kind of mansion that she's built. So I've always loved those sort of stories where there's a bit of a, you know, a different story in the pictures.
Yeah, and mine's Grug.
Right. Oh yeah. We've definitely been through a Grug phase, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like my dream for every author out there who's bringing a picture book into the world is, how wonderful would it be if your book was someone's picture book memory? Because we all have them, you know. And so with your author journey, you're available for school visits as well, I take it?
Yeah, yeah. I obviously being a teacher, that's sort of quite natural to me. So yeah, and I'm actually teaching in a high school at the moment, but I've done primary school. I teach English as a second language. So, new arrivals to the country and helping them with their English. So even though it's in a high school, it's a little bit of a primary school sort of level often because, the English is lower. So yeah, I'm happy to do sort of all ages, all groups. And that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. Is doing some stuff like that. I'll probably offer to do it at my kids' school or something to get a couple under my belt. And then, hopefully by the time sort of book week and that rolls around, I'll be able to book some of those events.
So schools, libraries, local independent bookshops. Laura Holloway is who you want to contact. She has
Cool.
she has two gorgeous girls who are also going to help
Yeah.
with the entertainment.
Yes.
So make sure you contact Laura when her book does come out. Spread the word of the Harmony Day themes. I think it's really important. And so, Laura, for anyone out there who would like to contact you, how do they do that?
Well, I have an author website now, the brand new one, which is laurahollowayauthor.com.au. Or through Instagram, I have an author Instagram, which is Laura Holloway _writes. So that's probably, I try and sort of keep that as my author side of things. And then, so, or email, just lauraholloway@outlook.com. I'm around. You'll be able to find me.
And so are pre-orders available now for your book?
Yes, there are pre-orders on Booktopia. Yep. And then hopefully it will be hitting stores for the launch. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly which stores yet. So I think your big bookstores and stuff, hopefully we'll stock it. And then I know a lot of FiveMile books go to sort of Big W, so I'm not sure if it's going to be there or not yet. But yeah, definitely Booktopia. It's already there for pre-order.
Oh, that is wonderful. And any final words of advice for authors who would just love to be in your shoes?
Get yourself in a writing group, whether it's in person, whether it's online, make those connections. And that's the other thing is now that I have this contract, it's been so nice having people to celebrate it with, because as I have friends and family and they're all excited for me, but it's different to those people who are in the industry, who've had those close misses, who've had those contracts, who've launched their first books. And now it feels really like, oh, yay, everyone's kind of cheering for me from that industry, which is really nice. And I've cheered them on a lot as well, so it's just really nice. I would definitely recommend getting involved in those. Squibbie is great as well, but obviously that costs money. So if you can join a Squibbie group, that's fantastic. But if you're not in that position, get online and join some of those online groups. And really participate in them as well. Cheer other people on so that when it's your turn, they'll reciprocate.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful advice. So, Laura, I'm very excited for you. I think your future is going to be incredibly bright. I can't wait to see what happens for you next. And thank you for talking with me today.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.